Sometimes in order to find yourself, you gotta be a little defiant and take on the entire Sheriff's Department of Hope, Washington. Then flee to the mountains, involve the National Guard and state troopers, just to prove to yourself that you're one badass person. So, as I was putting up the bail money for my friend earlier this week, I stopped by the video store and I rented First Blood. I'm Kevin Porter, and I may not be able to take out the entire sheriff's unit, but with the help of my buddy Rambo, I'll give it my best shot. You're watching Video Rental Chaos. The Vietnam War was a tough time for all of us Americans, especially one, John Rambo. A man with no road to happiness. First Blood is a wicked story about this guy on the road to finding himself after years of self-abuse when trying to fit back into regular day society. Without further delay, let's jump into the film that started it all, First Blood. The movie begins with John Rambo making his way to the fictional town of Hope, Washington. His first stop was to reconnect with his old wartime buddy, but finds out unfortunately that he had passed away the summer before due to cancer, as this resulted due to the Agent Orange exposure during the war. Rambo is on his way to town looking for a bite to eat. He is stopped by the town's sheriff, Will Teasel. They don't take shit from no one in this town, as the sheriff immediately lets him know that old Vietnam War vets bumming around his town is not welcome. He gives Rambo a ride out of town, but Rambo decides that he does not feel like listening to the law. And as an American citizen, there should be no problem with him getting a bite to eat in Hope, Washington. Well, the sheriff has other plans since Rambo is not taking direction. He busts him down and takes him into the station. After Rambo resists arrest, and the sheriff finds what we commonly call the Rambo knife. Once they have Rambo in the station, it's up to Chief Deputy Art Galt and his deputies to begin to mentally fuck with Rambo, as he won't cooperate with the sheriff's department. This brings flashbacks to Vietnam and causes the former soldier to break down and fight his way out of custody. He ends up stealing a motorcycle and takes off to the mountains. This leads to the sheriff's office going out into the woods having no clue what they're getting themselves into. While still trying to get away, he comes to a dead end and is forced down the mountain as the helicopter has him dead to rights. Rambo jumps as Art is defying his boss's orders and is taking active shots at Rambo. Rambo takes the jump and lives. Still needing to deal with the chief's deputy, Rambo takes actions into his own hands and rattles the helicopter. This results with the chief deputy falling to his death. Now, Rambo not wanting to take the blame for the officer's death, he goes to surrender himself. But the officers take shots at him, thus causing Rambo to flee even further into the forest. This is where they find out that they're not dealing with just any old soldier. You see, Rambo is a former Green Beret, aka a killing machine. They try and track Rambo down, but one by one, Rambo lets them know that he could have easily killed them all, but gives them the advice to leave now. The Washington State Patrol and Washington State National Guard are called in for assistance, along with Rambo's former mentor and commanding officer, Colonel Sam Trotman. It's suggested that they should just allow Rambo to get away in order to avoid more casualties. But Rambo is not about to give up, as in his own words, they drew first blood. They are hot on the trail of Rambo. They track him down into an old abandoned cave. The National Guard straight up ignore the orders and fire a rocket launcher in an effort to kill Rambo once and for all. Well, they start to pack up camp as, well, they think Rambo is dead. They should have thought about it a bit more, as Rambo is alive and well in the cave, and is able to use his survival skills to escape the cave alive. Once out of the cave, Rambo makes quick work and jacks a military truck that has an M60 machine gun. His mission is to simply attack the town of the sheriff's office that wronged him. His first stop is the local gas station as he blows the place up. This catches the attention of the sheriffs as they are back on the grind to find this guy Rambo. Rambo stays busy and takes out the power in the town. He then takes out the local sporting goods store. He finally sets his sights on the sheriff's station as it's down to a one-on-one encounter between the sheriff and Rambo, as he refuses to take Teasel's advice to leave him alone. After a back-and-forth affair, Trotman shows up and is able to talk down Rambo from killing the sheriff. In the most emotional scene in the film, Rambo breaks down and talks about the horror of war and the traumatic experience he has gone through. This is able to bring Rambo down and leads to his eventual surrender. Like we said earlier, First Blood started it all, ladies and gentlemen. You always hear about Rambo 2 and 3, but not a lot of people bring up First Blood. Now, I'm a bit of a beginner to the franchise as I only got into these films within the last 5 years. This probably was my second time watching the movie. Now, I personally think this movie holds up as being one of the better installments. The ending with Rambo breaking down hits hard. I imagine with former Vietnam vets, the treatment they went through in that war and then having to deal with regular society must have been tough. Not being alive during this time frame, I can't comment on what it was like, but I see what my generation has gone through with the Iraq War, and it's not pretty. The damage those men took in Vietnam was real and affects them to this day. War is not pretty, and it was nice to see them break it down like that at the end of the movie. If you have not taken the time to check out any of the Rambo films in a while, I totally suggest taking the weekend and going back through the series. I know that I have 2, 3, 4, 5 all lined up in the near future. So until next time I see you in Hope, Washington, I'll see you at the video store.